Zuckerberg responding tonight for the first time in an interview about the Cambridge Analytica controversy, where the social as despite her being a convicted felon, served 4 years in prison for armed robbery. She was released in 2005. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg responding tonight for the first time in an interview about the Cambridge Analytica controversy, where the social media site was used by a political research firm working with the Trump campaign to access the personal data of millions of users.
We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data, and if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people. So our responsibility now is to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Some on the left not ready to buy this explanation or somewhat apology. In fact, a prominent commentator writing for Vox, Facebook is bad and probably can't be fixed. You could shut down the whole thing tomorrow and everyone would be fine. Ouch. That comment as other progressives rail against Silicon Valley and billionaires in general.
Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos. These are people that sort of tread water over on our side of the political fence. What we need to do to deal with the Democratic Party, because we need a party that's going to be there for the people, for the working people.
Let's talk about it with tonight's panel. Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor and syndicated radio talk show host. Larry O'Connor, the radio host of WMAL in Washington, D.C. and associate opinion editor at the Washington Times. And Elizabeth Harrington, a senior writer for the Washington Free Beacon. Welcome all. Great to see you tonight.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, so on this issue of Michael Moore, by the way, my understanding is that also part of this deal were Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Together, one writer estimated their net worth is $55 million, and they've got 10 to 12 houses among the three of them. But Larry, they were preaching that it's time to get serious about poverty, and they're the ones to do it.
Yeah, well, it is kind of fun. At least Michael Moore is consistent, though, I have to say. I mean, he is a socialist, and he hates corporate barons on the right side of the equation, the left side of the equation. He hates successful people, and I guess he's railing against those in the digital world who have sort of aligned themselves with the left. But he did make some very good points there, specifically about the Democrats spending way too much talking about Russia instead of worrying about the people whose votes they lost this last time around. He's right about that. But I agree with him. I think that actually, I don't agree with him, but I think that it's interesting that the Democrats are now hating on Facebook, and they think Facebook is horrible, but they loved it when Facebook is what helped Barack Obama get elected. I don't know why everyone is shocked that Facebook is storing, keeping, and using our data. We give it to them so we can use the site. We all knew that all along. They're just angry now because Trump got elected.
Well, to that point, because we know over the weekend there was a former Trump campaign worker who worked with their campaign who said they figured out in 2012 that we were doing this, but Facebook didn't stop us because they were, quote, on our side. Ben Shapiro, writing in thehill.com about the fact that they knew the Obama team was doing this in 2012, says this: Facebook had no problem with such activity then, they do now. As soon as Facebook realized that Cambridge Analytica had perused a similar strategy, they suspended the firm. Leslie.
It is well known in any political circle, Shannon, that Cambridge Analytica was pro-Trump and was working with the Trump campaign. So I don't buy that from Facebook. And Larry, it's not just the liberals who are angry at Facebook today. It's both left and right. It's people who wanted their privacy protected, who just trust me from Mark Zuckerberg isn't good enough. And with regard to Michael Moore, you know, for 10 years, the first and second most philanthropic human beings in the United States are Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, respectively. So he really should not be dissing those billionaires, regardless of what side of the political aisle they fall on.
Well, when it comes to the social media issue tonight, Zuckerberg was also asked whether he would testify before Congress. He seemed open to that. He was asked also whether they should be regulated, and he said, well, maybe we should be. In the meantime, Elizabeth, Dianne Feinstein, Senator, a Democrat out of California, said this last fall when it came to light that there were things about ads and, quote, fake news on Facebook. She said, you've created these platforms talking to the tech giants, and now they're being misused, and you have to be the ones to do something about it, or we will. I mean, there are a lot of folks on the left who love these platforms, 4-8 years ago. Now they say not so much.
Right. It's great that a liberal guy like Mark Zuckerberg, who has political ambitions, it seems, of his own, is now being attacked from the left and the media, all because they still can't come to grips with the result of the 2016 election. And Facebook has been blamed before for Donald Trump's win, whether it was fake news or the Russian bots with their propaganda. And now it's Cambridge Analytica. Never mind that they did virtually the exact same thing as the Obama campaign did in 2012, which is use a third-party app and to get data on not just their supporters, but all of their friends off their friends list. I mean, and the media hailed it at the time. They said, look at the digital wizards at the Obama campaign and how, you know, they mastermind this with Facebook. And now all of a sudden it's a criminal thing because Republicans happen to do it. It just doesn't stand up. It's so hypocritical and a double standard.
All right, Leslie, what have you got to say? I see the
Well,
head
first
shaking.
of all, there is a criminal element here. I mean, the FEC actually has rules in place which Facebook was supposed to be under. I don't know about you, but I'm on Facebook, and nobody asked me, and nobody was guarding my privacy, which Facebook was supposed to do, simply by saying, do you, Leslie Marshall, or any of you watching, or any of us on this panel, opt out? And he doesn't even talk about that for the future. This doesn't have to do with the 2016 election. I know that you think that and that you want us liberals on the left to be angry about that. We are angry regardless of our ideology because our privacy was breached. That's what we care about because, in a sense, people trusted Mark Zuckerberg. And by the way, as a Democrat, I find it laughable. I find it laughable that Mark Zuckerberg would run for office.
Very quick final word to Larry.
Yeah, I honestly, the only reason this is making news is because it was tied to the Trump campaign. If they found out that they'd used your private information to sell you a cruise ship, nobody would care. The fact of the matter is this is really hurting Democrats. First it was Russia, then it was Russian bots, now it's Facebook. They have to face the reality that they lost this election because of issues, because of immigration, because of the economy, because of trade, because of taxes. If they want to keep blaming the boogeyman in the dark corner that kept Hillary from getting elected, they're going to lose again.
All right, we got to leave it there, but panel, please come back. We have much more to discuss with you, so stick around. Thank you all.
Okay.
We've got breaking news from California tonight on a budding three-way fight between the feds, the locals, and the state. Trace Gallagher breaking down the latest on Border Patrol agents, felons, and sanctuary cities. You don't want to miss it. Stick around. And YouTube getting into the gun control debate, banning some videos now involving firearms. Is it yet another assault on the Second Amendment? That and more in our Real News Roundup. The Senate race in Missouri heating up this week. Republican candidate Josh Hawley, in an effort to unseat one of the most vulnerable incumbents, Democrat Senator Claire McCaskill, releasing an ad tying McCaskill to Hillary Clinton. Now, Clinton's been coming under fire for a series of comments she's made overseas about heartland states that President Trump won and how they are, quote, looking backwards. And that's not all. So is it a winning strategy for the Republican candidate? Let's talk about it with our panel. Leslie Marshall, Larry O'Connor, and Elizabeth Harrington. Welcome back, all of you. Great to see you again.
You too.
Hey.
Okay,
how are you?
I want to play a little bit of this Hawley ad so people can see what they're highlighting from Hillary Clinton and then tying her to Senator McCaskill. Here's a bit of the ad.
You know, you didn't like black people getting rights. You don't like women, getting jobs. You don't want to, see that Indian American succeeding more than you are. Whatever your problem is, working for, a woman now, you don't like it, whatever the reason was.
She's had a lot of things to say, Elizabeth, about why she didn't do well. Does this strategy work for Hawley now? Because McCaskill was one of the first supporters of Hillary Clinton, very, very vocal, and now she's tied to her.
Right. I think it's a very effective ad, and I think it's fair game. If Hillary Clinton is refusing to go away and to not let go of the 2016 election, it's fair game from McCaskill, who her earliest supporter. And it's smart for Hawley to try to connect Hillary or McCaskill to these Hillary comments because they're attacking her voters directly. I mean, it's so insulting. It's not just, you're deplorable, you're irredeemable, you're also a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, you didn't contribute enough to GDP. This isn't exactly a winning message for Democrats in 2018. I think Republicans should never stop, if Hillary won't go away, they should never stop bringing her up because it's a good weapon for them.
Well, it seems that Republicans like to, especially going into this midterms, they love to tie people to Nancy Pelosi Although Democrats say, listen, she gets a lot of things done on the Hill, and you got to give her a pat on the back for that. They're tying people to Hillary Clinton. In the meantime, former State Department spokeswoman Marie Harf, who now is a contributor here at Fox, had this to say about Hillary at this moment in time.
She should go away. I hate to say that. I really do. The first female nominee of a major party has a historical, role, certainly, and the right to speak up. She is not helping the Democratic Party, and I think she should take a very long vacation and leave the future of the party to other people.
What do you think, Leslie?
Well, I partially agree with Marie. I mean, I don't think somebody should go away because Hillary does have appeal. I mean, she did get millions of votes. There are people who did want her and even still want her to be our president. But I don't think that her comments then, as we saw on the tape, and I don't think her comments when she was calling voters deplorable. You can attack, and I say this left or right for whatever seat you're running, president all the way down to a council position. You can't attack the voter because that voter is not always tied to their party. You can attack your opponent, but you don't attack the voter or their base. And I think in the ad, what Republicans are trying to do, and it could be somewhat successful, is tie Claire McCaskill to Hillary, even though she has said she doesn't agree with recent comments in India. And quite frankly, some of what they're splicing into the ad is from 2013 as opposed to now in 2018. But we also have seen historically that, ads don't seem to make or break the race. And this is a very tight race, as we see in the polling between 2%, 3%, and 4% within the margin of error.
Well, and Larry, to Leslie's point about the millions who voted for Hillary Clinton, her supporters, the first thing out of their mouth is always she won the popular vote. So there's a huge swath of this country who says, listen, I'm with her.
Millions of people wanted her to be president in California. You take California away and Trump wins in a landslide. No, honestly, and we're talking about Missouri, we're talking about West Virginia, we're talking about North Dakota, we're talking about Florida, we're talking about a whole lot of states right now that Trump won, 10 in fact, where there is a Democrat up for re-election. I don't want Hillary to go anywhere. I'm begging Hillary to stay on the stage. It's the best thing Republicans have going for them right now, frankly, because the odds are against them in so many ways, having this be a midterm after the presidential election. I wonder if the RNC is actually paying Hillary to keep doing this. We know she loves money. This may be what's going on here. They're paying Hillary, they're giving donations to the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary's going out there doing the Republicans' bidding.
Well, and Elizabeth, a lot of people like to talk about President Trump, and they say that he makes comments and things that are sort of unforced errors and gets himself in trouble where he doesn't need to. I mean, a lot of people feel that that is what's happening with Hillary Clinton right now as well. She has the freedom to speak her mind anywhere in the world that she wants to, but Democrats at home, wish that maybe she wouldn't.
Yeah, of course she does, and Republicans certainly don't want her to stop. And you finally have all these Democrats coming out and saying, please, Hillary, go away because you're not helping us. But I love what we were obsessing about the 2016 election. We can't get over it. Jennifer Palmieri, her comms director, Hillary's comm director, recently came out and said, well, Hillary was operating on the campaign with half her humanity tied behind her back. Well, if we've only seen half of Hillary, I think we've seen certainly enough.
Quick final word to you, Leslie.
Well, I would just say that Claire McCaskill, if you remember, last time around, folks, it was counted out, and then Mr. Aiken opened his mouth. So if there's a national poisoning of the Republican waters, she may still prevail, even though I would say this is a tight race for Democrats in a more Republican state that's become more Republican over the years, and you never know what's going to come out of the opponent's mouth or who he's tied to in the Democratic ad that I'm sure will be coming out, linking him to somebody who's in trouble in his own state.
Yeah, and there are months and months to go, which is a lifetime. It's many lifetimes in politics. Leslie, Larry, and Elizabeth, thank you for being on our panel tonight. Great to see you all.
You too.
You bet.
You too,
Thank
Shannon.
you.
Thank you.